To get settled and get in here and take just a minute to acknowledge everybody as they come in. Whether you are watching live or you watch later, make a comment, let me know you're here. This week, I wanted to kind of talk just a little bit about some of the ways that we gain practice in certain skills, but we don't tend to do that with problem solving. We tend to believe that we should go straight from problem solution and not have to consider how do we know what the problem really is. So this past week, we had a pretty major weather change from 70 degrees on Saturday to a pretty good snowstorm Sunday, Monday. So walking around the house, I really did have to kind of batten down the hatches because you go from the doors and windows are open to I hope I didn't forget any of them. So I noticed that some of the repairs needed to be done. And I also noticed some of the stuff that I did this summer. So just like puzzles, those repairs give us some problem solving practice. Now, that might be surprising to you because we do live very much in a throwaway culture. We just toss stuff. Now, in my family, we did repairs, but partially because my dad could fix absolutely anything. He didn't bother with cars because he felt like that was a specialty left to people who really do know what they're doing. But around the house, he could fix anything from the toys to furniture to appliances to especially electrical because he was a master electrician. They have a little bit different approach to problems because they know how to stay out of the stuff they don't know how to do. So if you're thinking, I can see all of these things around me that I need to repair, I'm going to ask you to pause just a minute and ask yourself a couple of important questions. What tools would be required? Because some things actually have a very specific screwdriver you'd have to go buy. It's not always worth it. Do you have the tools? Do you have the finer point, whatever? For me, I had to go buy a soldering iron. And then the second question is, do I have the skills to complete the repair? You might get out there on a limb and find out I don't have what I need and I don't know what I'm doing. So being honest with yourself is perfectly fine. That's fair. So now there are some repairs that I will tell you very honestly are for professionals only. Okay, I'm going to list these off right here because I've run into them myself. Most electrical repairs, don't even try. Beyond changing a light bulb, just call a professional because there's too many ways to get injured. So I would say right off the bat, leave the electrical stuff. Another one is the water heater replacement, and that's because you do have to have the permits and all that stuff. And you can kind of make a pretty good mess if you don't know what you're doing. The third one you might not really even know, and that is the springs above your garage door actually hold the weight of the door. So you're going to want to leave those alone because people have actually died trying to replace those. So don't touch those. If one of them breaks, call in the pros. Now, one might be kind of surprising to you, even with my technical background, my programming background, all of that stuff. I won't repair a computer. The hardware is just too intricate and you can cause a chain reaction of problems. It does fall under electrical, but it's more intricate than that. I won't even touch a printer. If it's broken, we just either start over, which is one of the places it's probably cheaper, or I have a guy that actually repairs stuff. So in light of the don't do this, don't do that, also, I wanted to kind of share some of the stuff that I have repaired. Now, I had this old box fan, and when I say old, I mean old, like it's all metal. And I moved it one day and it threw sparks. That's really not good. So I looked at it and I thought, okay, wait a minute, what am I going to do here? So, of course, you unplug it. If it throws sparks, that's always a good idea. Unplug the thing. So, I unplugged it and I thought, I wonder what I can do with this. So, I had a matching color wise extension cord, cut the right end off of it, put it together, and it works. Now, is that an electrical one? It is, but I also called Dad and asked him a couple of questions. So that one, what I love that fan because it actually moves the air. The new ones, they need to just go back to metal. Make them here in the States. Let's move on. Okay, another one that was interesting was the freezer compartment of my refrigerator. So it's, part of the fridge. But if the defrost elements don't work anymore, that's why they collect ice. There's no cold air in the refrigerator. Well, I watched this guy do it and he charged me like $200. And I thought I could do that. So the next time they failed, which they do after a few years, I just fixed it myself. Let's see. Of course, I fixed garden hoses. I've got to replace the snowblower spark plug. That's like that's not a problem at all. Well, the dash cam cord, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but they don't tend to kind of protect the cords, the weight from the cords, whether it's your cell phone cord, your dash cam cord, whatever those little cords are, they always fray. So I fixed that, take it apart, put it back together. I just strengthened it a little bit. So those are kind of little things around the house, but I have to figure out whether I can fix them or not. And they're great for practice. Can I find the pieces? Do I have the tools? Do I have the knowledge to finish this? Because one of them I tried was my flashlight. Now, I don't know whose brilliant idea it was so that you screw the lid on and or the front of it on and you're twisting the wires. Now, that's just bad design because every time you unscrew anything on this flashlight, you're twisting the wires, which means you're breaking the wires. So that one I fixed. That was kind of cool. Recently, a brake light on my truck decided to fail. Of course, the truck's only, 20 years old? So I fixed that the other day. All I do is get out the manual. Always get out the manual on your vehicle because it shows you exactly how not to break the thing. Let's see what else. Oh, yes, I did do one electrical thing I would not recommend, and that was I rewired a breaker box my dad and I had put in for the water heater. But I know how to do it, and I knew how to get back all the way to cut the power before I did it. And that one was, I took a picture of it, I blew the picture up, I drew my arrows, I knew exactly what I had to do to put it back together. But I knew what I was doing because Dad and I had done it before. Now, one older one that I did that was kind of interesting, we had been into the furnace and Dad showed me how it worked and everything. Well, 3 days after they left, it got cold, the furnace died, and I called Dad and I said, what do I do? So I went and I actually got the little motor for the furnace, and the guy at the electrical place told me what I needed to do, and I came home and I fixed it. I fired it up and I called my dad. I had to call him. He was so proud because he was getting ready to get in the car and come up here. They live 3 hours away. That would not have worked. So let's see. Oh, yes, recently, I think it was in the spring, the thermostat on the furnace decided to die. Now, that's not rocket science. I wasn't real sure how, I don't know, what do you want to call them? Fragile? There's a good word. The wires on the back of the thermostat were, and I didn't know how to get it off the wall. So I had to play with it a little bit. Took it with me, got the new one, came back, put it in. A crazy thing worked. I couldn't believe it. Now, why do I not consider that one electrical? Because it is kind of low voltage. You just have to learn how to, turn the power off. So as I talk about all of these different kinds of things, when you are doing things away from the computer, when you're doing things away from your business, whatever it is, it's still problem solving. And we have to look at things honestly and say, can I do this? Is it worth doing? Do I need to call a pro? Or can I just fix this? Do I realize? And I realize that some of it is just very obvious. If you have like a screwdriver that's the right size, if you have a hammer that's the right size, you've got to learn to say, no, I can't do this. Well, what that brings us to is the realization that in our businesses, there's things we can't do by ourselves. We absolutely have to have help. So when we have that help and we have peers and we have competitors and we have coaches and we have people that are experts around us, those people become very, very valuable in our ability to improve our skills, particularly in problem solving. So I don't really recommend going out there as a maverick, feeling like you can just hack through something. If it's going to cost you more time, break something, injure somebody, even put you on somebody's radar screen like the utility company or somebody else, you're still going to want to make sure that you look around and say, is this something I need to be doing? And if it is, practice on your ability to solve the real problem. And that's what we want to do in this group. So, whatever examples you have, put them in the comments. I would love to know how you guys solve problems, whether it's around the house. Some of you guys work on cars. I know you do, because so many people could do what I can't do. I have to contact my neighbor for that. Um, but as you look at this and as you consider your own problems around the house, what do you do to fix them? And do you reach for the phone and call somebody because you really just don't have the time to deal with it? Let me know. I'm interested. I want to know how you do this. Thanks for being here. Make a comment. Let me know you're there. Have a great day. Thanks so much.